Okay, so welcome back, everyone. This is going to be Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, session 3, I believe. And we are back with Maddie playing Juliana, and Lucid playing Lucian, Emma playing Arda, and Ghost playing Durak the Slayer. Last time we left the group, they had just made it to Altdorf after leaving a job from Riverside or Rivertown, where they had stopped some bandits. And now they're in Altdorf after helping someone that they had found in need on the road to Altdorf. And this man, Lewis, promised them a job for saving his life. And this job is very profitable. And after taking them to the Gilded Ox, Lewis explained to them that they needed to find the missing son of a missing nobleman from the south, who is thought to be here in Altdorf, or who was last heard coming this direction. And after explaining to them that he needed them for this job, he paid up front with a sizable amount of gold coin to secure the deal. And I think we last left off with everyone sitting in the Gilded Ox, and he had just offered you the job, put the coins down, and we kind of left it there. So after the coins are put down onto the table with a thud, the leather purse opening up to show the gold coins, and you kind of divvying them out and splitting them up. I believe Arda had generously given several of her coins as payment to the dwarf, Durak. Now, you've all received payment, and he has spoken to you about keeping his end of the bargain, paying up front and promising much more where that came from should you complete the mission of finding the nobleman's missing son. He laid down several items: a high elf styled, high elf forged knife, a painting in a map case of the missing nobleman's son, and what was it? The last one, the signet ring, the ring that would identify the father to the son, so he would know who sent you, and that not that you're just some thieves or bandits trying to gain his trust. Um, so we'll take it from there. We'll start from there.
And Juliana looks across the table at the man. So, I forget exactly where would be the place he's staying at the moment. I assume you have already checked this place, but it might be a good idea to have a fresh set of eyes, just in case.
Yes, well, we've checked all the normal places that we thought we might find him. We've checked the sisters and the priestesses at the Temple of Shalea, thinking he might be injured. We've obviously checked this place out quite thoroughly, I think. This is where he would be, I believe. This is where his father's business is. This is where his father keeps his office away from home when he's traveling here in Altdorf. He has a private room upstairs. All of this is where he would be. But his belongings are gone. He's gone, and no one has seen him since he left.
Do you mind if we check the room that he would be staying? There might be something else. Maybe something hidden that wasn't very obvious on the first or few checks.
Well, no, of course not. You can feel free to check his room if you'd like. Like I said, I'm not sure that you're going to find a whole lot of anything. We've been up there and looked at it. I've had men search it prior to my arrival, and well, yeah, of course you can take a look.
Perfect. What room is it?
Well, there's a private room right upstairs around here. He kind of points off around one of the corners to some stairs leading up to another level.
Perfect. You make sure to check the room just in case.
And tell me, friend, will you be staying in the city, or should we come to your estate when we find the boy?
Well, I'll be here to help process any needs you might have, any expenses you might need while you're searching. That pay, of course, is for your time and efforts. Any other expenses, the master has agreed to go ahead and pay for. He wants his son found, and he wants him found right away. He's worried sick.
Of course. Well, Juliana, I think you're correct. Starting with the room is probably a good call. We should also ask around and see who besides us and our friend here has been in looking for the boy, maybe, or if there were any people who spent a good deal of time with him before he disappeared.
Yes, well, I'll leave it all in your very capable hands. If you need me, I'll be right here at the Gilded Ox. I'll be right in the room. Any points upstairs again. I'll be right in the room up there to the left, right next to the young master's room. I'll be there if you need me. Otherwise, you can find me down here. I'll be asking around, getting the master's business in order, and just let me know if I can help in any way. But like I said, this is your job now. I'm going to make sure everything is good on this end, but please do what you can to find him.
But of course, she looks around to the rest. Well, shall we check upstairs first?
Works for me.
I suppose so. Should probably ask around, try to figure out maybe who the last person to see him was too. Or at least who will admit it.
Yes, it is a good idea. And Juliana looks to gentlemen. extending a hand. Well, we look forward to finding the young master and assisting your master in finding him.
Yes, well, thank you very much. Thank you. I can't tell you what this means to us. Um, we do need to, we do need to find the boy. I hate to see the master in this state. He's just so worried. I couldn't even begin to tell you how worried he is.
Well, it is difficult when a child goes missing from a household. And she puts down her hand and looks over to Lucy. Well, shall we?
After you, my lady. Wolf, Lucian says with a smirk.
Leona smirks back before leaving the table and heading upstairs.
Arda kind of
Lucian.
rolls her eyes towards the dwarf at just their courteousness towards each other, and then gets walking.
Okay, so you all start heading upstairs and making your way on the rickety steps that just kind of give to your weight, and you go to the room that he pointed to, right up the stairs and around the corner. You can see that there are several doors. The first one to the left, obviously, being Lewis's room, and then you walk into the room that he was pointing at. You can still hear the sounds downstairs, the music playing, the crowds, and you walk in, and the room is quiet, empty, windows facing out from the top of the tavern, looking down onto the streets. You walk in and you just kind of see it. It's just an empty room that doesn't look to be disturbed in any way. It's just there.
Durek will start kind of brusquely ruffling through any kind of paperwork, drawers, anything like that. Knocking things over, not really caring if they're knocked over, and just trying to look around for anything of note that seems out of place, or missives, or anything like that.
Okay. As you're all looking around, go ahead and make a... Let me open my sheet here, get them all down. Perception check, please.
Just the regular plus 20.
Yep, regular plus 20.
Oh,
Crit
then-
succeeded then.
I would have passed.
Yeah, Lucian would have had, what is that, 10 versus 53? That's like
Okay.
4 or 5 success levels.
Okay. Yep, so as you guys are looking around and pulling everything out, there's nothing that you're noticing that's, like I said, out of place or hidden. As a matter of fact, that's what stands out to you the most. There is nothing out of place, no signs of struggle, no signs of anything being pushed to the side, nothing knocked over. And as a matter of fact, everything has been removed from the drawers. It's as if someone had purposefully packed up and left. There are no items of personal belongings really anywhere in the room, other than linens and things like that. Looks like the room has been prepared maybe for the next person even, which might even be Lewis is doing. But everything has been packed up and removed, and nothing is out of place.
Looks as though he's buggered off.
That's it? Juliana stops playing with the bed fabric. She straightens up and crosses her arms. What do you mean?
Just look around. Nothing out of place. Not much sign that anyone's been here. Seems like it's all been packed up and prepared for whoever's staying in this rat hole next.
She looks around. Oh, go ahead.
Lucian, as everyone is kind of looking, also looks at the door at the keyhole, or whatever kind of key mechanism there is to see if it looks like there's any scratches or anything that might suggest someone trying to, like someone pick.
Yeah, and with your perception test, yeah, you don't need to make any other kind of rolls for that. You look at it, and there are no scratches. Like I said, no signs of forced entry. Nothing was picked. Everything looks to be on the up and up.
Doesn't look like anybody picked the lock. I think I have to agree with Durak. Whatever happened here, he left and took everything he had.
Could it be that it was simply just cleaned up? It's been a while, right?
Well, is that there's absolutely nothing.
We should go speak to the barkeep and some of the regulars.
Well, what's the servant's name that gave us this job?
Lewis.
I mean, Lewis even said he had, a whole group of people come in and search this place. With how tidy it is, they probably put it all back. Who's to say they didn't just take whatever? I don't know. Maybe they're involved.
It might be something else. And Juliana kind of crosses one arm and puts a hand on her chin. He might have... Well, if he ran away, it might have been because of a lover.
Maybe the boy has a woman he likes to see here in the city. Could be worth asking about.
Indeed.
Wouldn't be the first boy to run away with a girl, or vice versa.
No, this is why I suspect this sort of thing. We don't know the relationship between the parents and the child.
Alright,
Well, let's head downstairs and start asking around.
Sounds good. And Arda's gonna start walking down the steps ahead of everybody else.
So you search the room, look around, you see that everything is in place, pretty much as Lewis has said. Nothing looks disturbed, and it actually looks as though all personal items have been removed, as if someone packed their bags almost and left. You head down the creaking stairs back into the main area of the Gilded Ox.
So Luis is still down there? Or Lewis?
Yeah, he's still down there. You see him off to the side. He's kind of talking to someone off to the side. He notices you coming downstairs, and he stops talking to the person, puts his hand up as if to, say, just a moment. And he walks over to you for, did you see anything? Was there anything that you noticed that maybe we didn't?
No, it was completely clean. Nothing out of the ordinary sort of deal, everything packed up.
And packed up?
That's the way it looked.
What do you... And he looks confused for just a moment. And then as if it dawns on him, the realization that that's what that means. There were no personal items in there. He hadn't thought that it was packed up, just that the boy was missing. Oh. Do you think he went somewhere?
don't know. Did he ever have a big desire for travel? Or maybe
Well, he's a
did he like to catch the eyes of pretty young girls and run away with them or disappear with them?
well, he's a stubborn young goat, I tell you that. Desire for travel. He has a desire for knowledge and maybe a sick desire for fame. He thinks his name will be known one day. I told you about the book he was looking for. Uh, as far as girls, well, I don't know. I assume there may have been women, a young noble in this city. I don't see how there couldn't be, but no one that he spoke of at home, no one that he brought home and showed to the master.
Yeah, that makes sense. What was that book that he was looking for again?
Oh, I don't know the name of it. He just kept talking about some book. Oh, it could predict things. I don't know. Oh, weather or the moon or something. He seemed mad when he talked about it, but
Well,
he was fascinated with it.
that sounds like my area of expertise. Being from the Celestial College that's all about divination and fortune telling and everything, would I potentially have any books in particular in mind that may remind me of this guy's description?
Um, make a. Let's see here. It's going to be knowledge. I'm just trying to see if you have a specific one.
There's arcane lore.
Yes, go ahead and make a. Well, that's to cast arcane lore, isn't it?
I don't know. It's just.
Okay. Yeah, just make a knowledge test with, and because of your background, add another plus 10, so add a plus 30.
Okay. By knowledge, do you mean intelligence, or where's knowledge?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Oof. Isn't there a thing
Yes.
where I can roll again? What is that?
It's either fortune or fate. I can't remember which one's the permanent, which one's the temporary.
I think fortune is the temporary.
Yeah.
Could I spend a fortune and reroll?
Of course you can. Okay, so at first when he's talking about it, you don't quite understand what he's talking about, and it doesn't make any sense. But then when he says something about this book being able to predict the moon, the thought pops into your head, the idea pops into your head that he might be talking about the Morslide Arcanum, and you're not sure, but you have some idea that there is a book out there, supposedly a myth, that some madman wrote, whose name escapes you right now, but who is thought to be quite mad, that supposedly predicts the cycles of Morslide, which is, to everyone's knowledge, very unpredictable.
What is Morslide?
Morslide is a cycle of the moon. It's called the dark moon, the bad moon. It's when the green moon supposed to be associated with chaos and wordstone is close and large in the sky, close to the planet and large in the sky, and it creates all kinds of chaos and darkness throughout the lands. it's not seen as a good omen, and it is often feared, and this book, this author thinks that he found a way to predict when this Morslab moon would appear in the sky, but no one really believes that, and just kind of casts him off as an insane person who doesn't know what he's talking about. But again, like I said, the name doesn't quite. You don't really remember the name of the person. You just remember the basic idea of what that book is about, and that it's been talked about before in circles that you're a part of and know.
Okay. As I'm thinking and kind of making these connections in my mind, I'm gonna look at Lewis again. Does the name, the Morslide Arcanum, sound familiar? Does that sound right?
And he looks at you and just kind of shrugs his shoulders. I have no idea. Just some book he was after. I don't know the name of it. I don't know who wrote it. I don't even know where to find it. It's just something he seemed fixated on. I don't even know if it's a real book. Seems pretty crazy to me. But if you think that has something to do with him going missing, well then, I guess that's a place to start. But I don't know what that would have to do with anything. It was just a book he was looking for, after all. Lots of books here.
Yeah, but this is a bit of a special book. I think it's a lead. I have some people I can talk to. Thanks.
Yeah, well, let me know if I could help you in any other way.
Will do, Lewis. Let me know if you find anything out.
Yeah, well, I'm asking around. I'm talking to some of the folk here. I'm asking around if anyone's seen him or if they know anything. So if I find anything out from these fine folk, I'll let you know.
Thanks, that's very helpful.
And he nods and kind of turns and goes back to his discussion with the other person that he was talking to off to the side.
All right. Arda's gonna find the others in the room and walk back up to them and see who they've been talking to and what they're up to.
While Arda had been doing that, Lucian went up to the bar and ordered a round of drinks and had started asking the bartender about the young man who had been staying there.
So you walk up to the barkeep there, and sorry, I was in another screen and missed that last part.
You're fine. So yeah, if while Arda had been talking with Lewis, Lucian had walked up to the barkeep and ordered a drink.
Okay. And when you walk up to the bar, the dwarf behind the bar comes walking up to you and says, "Oi, what'll it be?"
Ale, and whatever you might know about the young man Friedrich that was staying here a few weeks ago.
Well, an ale it'll be. And he turns around and he steps on a little step stool behind the bar to reach the taps, and he pulls some golden ale out of the taps and into a tankard, walks back over to you, steps down off the steps to walks back over you, and kind of leans up a little bit and puts the tankard up on the bar, slams it down. That'll be full brass.
Lucian reaches into his coin purse and pulls out 5 brass pennies and slides them to the dwarf.
And he looks at the extra brass penny, looks at you. Who are you looking for?
just curious to hear about the noble boy who was staying upstairs a few days ago. I believe Friedrich was the name.
Yeah, young Master Friedrich. He practically lives here sometimes. What about him? What do you need to know?
What kind of lad is he?
Well, he's a good lad. He pays well, keeps to himself, doesn't start no fights. Exactly the kind we want here.
Does he ever have any friends visit or any woman folk?
And the barkeep looks down at the one coin that he still left sitting on the bar and looks back up at you.
Lucian reaches into his pack and pulls out 3 more brass pennies.
When you hand the 3 brass pennies, you can see him slightly roll his eyes, and then he answers your question. Yes.
Lucian reaches into his bag and pulls out a silver shilling and places it on the counter with his finger on it and says, "Go on."
Well, yes. There is a woman he brings in here sometimes. Treats her real nice. Buys her dinner, buys her drinks. Treats her like a proper lady. Sometimes she stays the night. Sometimes she goes back to wherever it is she goes. He walks her home. He comes back here, goes back to his room. Does a lot of studying up there. I see him coming in and out with books all the time. But yes, he does come in here with a lass on occasion.
Same lass every time?
Same lass every time.
Ever catch a name?
Well, I'm not paid for that kind of thing. I mind my own business. I stay out of other people's business. I just see what I see. And sometimes, well, and he looks down at the silver shilling that he still left sitting there. Sometimes I can be persuaded to talk about what I see.
Lucian slides over the silver shilling and says, "Listen here, friend. Let's be honest. If you tell me what you know, there's a lot of coin in it for you, and there's the good graces of some men who are about to be very, very rich. Can I try like a haggle roll on that?
Yes, absolutely.
Modifier?
Plus 20 is fine. Okay. So he looks down at the silver coin, and he looks down at the other brass pennies next to it, and he takes your words into consideration, talking about being very rich and wealthy and all of this. He looks out of the corner of his eyes around the room. He turns around, he grabs that step stool that he used to get to the taps, grabs it with his foot and slides it over, just kind of scratches against the floor, slides it over, and it slams it up against the bar, steps up onto it, then rests his arms on the bar, crosses them, folds them, and looks across the bar at you. Well, her name's Miss Lisa. She comes from one of those places down there. I don't know. The men like to go get dates sometimes. But, you know, I'm not one to judge. I never personally had to, you know, pay for the affections of a woman myself, but I can't say why he does it, but he does. Miss Lisa, well, she's a pretty lass. I can see why. Company, but yeah, you could find her right down there, the Crimson Lotus.
Miss Lisa at the Crimson Lotus, you say? Good man.
Yes, don't tell anyone I told you that. You keep me out of all this.
Mum's the word. And Lucian places 12 more brass pennies on the table.
And he looks down and roughly nods. Very good, very good. You're welcome here. If you have any other questions, you know where to find me. And he steps down off the step. And
One more thing, if I may.
What is it?
Besides our friend Lewis over there, has anyone else been asking about the boy?
Well, Lewis, other men that work here. I mean, Lewis is a fixture around here. His master sends him here every once in a while. He's got an office upstairs. They do business. He's, from what I understand, his master's a major investor in this place. I just kind of run this bar. I don't own it. Not enough money, but I keep talking to you. Maybe I can invest in it too.
Maybe. Do me a favor. Keep your ear to the ground, and if you hear anything interesting, it might be worth your while to let me know.
Yes, well, I'll let you know if I hear anything about the young master up there. Like I said, good boy. Always treated that lady right. I liked him, kept to himself. And again, he turns around and kicks the stool back towards the taps and starts polishing some tankards.
Lucian is gonna go over and rejoin the others with his ale, sipping on it. So it seems there is a lass involved after all. A Miss Lily at the Crimson Road.
Well, that is
Lisa. Miss Lisa at the Crimson Road.
yes, the names are fairly interchangeable, but that is okay. Well, yeah, it might be a good place to start. And she takes a drink of her ale. Looks over the Durak. And dear, I thought that you might be wanting to talk to another dwarf.
Most other of my kin aren't interested in talking to a sort such as mine anyway.
Well, they are missing out.
Doubtful.
Really out of smile, so takes another drink. So, I guess the first place we go is this Crimson Rose. What kind of place is this, Lucian?
Brothel is my understanding.
The perfect place for you.
A place full of waziks.
Lucian kind of smiles at the jab, but doesn't really respond.
Arda will walk back at this point. So, what'd you find?
Well, Lucian found his new favorite hangout spot in the city, but apparently there is a woman named Miss Lisa, who the young master did talk with, I am guessing.
Sounds like a fair bit more than that, but the barkeep says he always treated her like a respectable lady, buy her meals, and walk her home.
Romantic.
How nice. He's so kind to whores. Right? She's a whore. I picked up on that.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. What a gentleman. He's also apparently been looking for a book. I have a feeling I might know what it is, but I think I'll need to ask around. I know I know more than a few people at the college, but I know a few people that I think might know something.
Well, perfect. We have 2 leads. Maybe some of us can follow one, some of us can follow the other, or we can mosey there together.
It might be a bit difficult to get you to the college, but I can try.
Well, don't want to put you out.
So through all of this and the discussions that you're having, asking around, by the time you had already arrived here at the Gilded Ox, um, it was already late in the day, and it's currently late in the evening. Um, so you guys can let that kind of guide your decision making from here.
Probably a little late to find mages and scholars at the university, but looks to me like it's prime time at at a hall.
Yes, you would know.
And Juliana finishes her drink and gets up.
Well, we might as well go.
She looks over at Arda.
If you are interested in coming to an ore house, you seem quite distasteful of these women.
It's not my favorite hangout. I could go to the college. I could at least talk to my mom, a few others. I mean, I generally freaking live there. So it's kind of a 24 hours a day sort of deal for me.
What about you, Dora? Would you like to maybe venture to see if you can get into the college or come to the ore house with us?
Magic and Dawe don't usually interchange very well. But this one, she'll probably die if she doesn't have someone next to her. So...
So kind of you, dwarf.
Hmm.
I'll have you remember that this is my home city. I'm more than capable of taking care of myself.
Aye, that's
Frank.
what all the skinny waifs think, and then they're getting mugged in an alley. But I'll go with you. But if any one of you, your Magister friends, cast spells on me, I'm gonna burn your college to the ground, with all due respect.
You can try
And
your very
frankly,
best.
Arda, most people die in their home cities anyway. So saying that you know it doesn't make you safe here.
Alright, fine. I'll happily accept the escort. Come on, dwarf. You're gonna need to hold my hand.
Oh, no touching.
I'm afraid you don't have much of a choice. So, Doc, and I guess Ghost, since you're very familiar with the setting as well, from what I've read, the Celestial College isn't invisible, but it does have enchantments on it to where people who can't cast magic can't look at it. And if they kind of know where they're going, like, they can find the door to the place. But generally, I would know that I need to kind of really push or drag Durak around to get him there, right?
We're correct, yeah. So yeah, you would know how to get there. Durak's not going to know how to get there, obviously. There is an enchantment over the area where the college lies, especially for celestial magic, and but as a student there, being trained there, that's like the first thing you're shown how to do is to find the entrance and get in there.
Okay. Then yeah, Arda will extend her hand towards the dwarf. You don't have a choice.
And why is that exactly?
Because
No,
you
and then,
can't
of course,
see the college. I have to lead you there. And if you're not holding on to me in some way, then you're gonna lose yours.
Durak will look wearily at Arda and then hold one of his big meaty paws out. First he would spit on his hand, rub it on his pant leg a bit, and then hold his hand out.
Charming. And she'll take his hand and look towards Lucian and Juliana. Good luck at the whorehouse. And she'll walk out.
So they head out into the night. What are you other two doing?
Juliana will link arms with Lucian.
Well, looks like we can go and have some fun and maybe figure out this Miss Lisa woman as well.
Hey, I know one or two things about speaking with whores. They tend to be a wealth of information in my experience.
I feel like they are a wealth of many things. Though if the wealth happens to be between your legs, then there will be no wealth coming from me. Do you understand?
Wouldn't think of it. And Lucian goes and holds the door open for Juliana.
He does a little curtsy before exiting.
Wow. Okay, so you all discuss what you're going to do, where you're going to go, and how you're going to go about it. You walk out into the streets, and you walk out into the streets of Altdorf, and let me pull something else up here. So you walk out into the streets and make your decisions about where you're going to go. It's late in the evening, and even this late in the evening, there's a little hustle, there's some bustle, people going by, walking around. It's a large city. It's a you know, kind of a metropolis here. People from all over the empire coming. From all walks of life, and they're going back and forth, going about their daily lives, unaware of anything outside these walls, outside these gates, hoping that the conflicts that are happening out there don't affect them inside, don't cross those walls. And you decide that you're going to split up and go in different directions. Which of you would like to, obviously, since we have split everyone up into two groups, what group would like to go first?
I think probably Juliana and Lucian, because I think Ghost is AFK.
Okay. So you two get directions from the barkeep. He tells you where to go to get to the Crimson Lotus so that you can find Lisa. And he gives you her description and lets you know who to ask for. It takes a little doing and a little shoulder rubbing to get through some crowds of people. It's later in the evening, but like I said, there are still quite a number of people out. You walk down some narrow streets, through a couple of alleyways. You have to ask once, maybe twice, and then you go ahead and get through to the Crimson Lotus. You walk in, and you are quickly greeted by another woman, and she says, yes, can I help you two?
And Juliana looks over to Lucian.
I should hope so. Or did we come to the wrong place?
Well, this is the Crimson Lotus. If you are in need of anything specific, let me know. I'm sorry. Have you ever been here before?
No, first time visiting the city, but a friend recommended the Crimson Lotus to me, and even recommended that I speak with a specific girl, Lisa, if you know.
And she looks at you as you say that, and she smiles, just the faintest smile in the corner of her mouth. Well, let's start with names, shall we? I'm Eleanor. You are.
Lucian, and may I present Juliana?
Well, it's not unheard of. We have had many couples come here before, but there is a higher cost for the two of you to be here together. I just want to make you aware of that up front.
Of course, we were expecting such a thing. Did not expect to get the same price for one.
Yes, well, before we let any of the women come in here, of course, I must discuss horrible things like money and coin and cost. As you know, Lisa is a beautiful woman. I am assuming you know that. You are requesting her specifically. For the two of you, it will be 2 gold coin.
That is fine.
Well, very well. And she gently and almost slyly just slips her hand out with her palm up, like elegantly, just sitting there waiting for the coin.
And Juliana looks over to Lucy.
Lucian reaches into his pouch and pulls out 2 gold coins and places them in her palm.
And she looks down at the gold in her hand, and just as smoothly and elegantly as her hand showed up, palm up, it quickly dips back down into a pocket in her dress, and the coins disappear. Well, yes, of course. If you'll have a seat right here, I'll go get Lisa. And she turns around and disappears out of the room. As she... Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Juliana sits down and looks up to Lucian.
Well, if she does not tell us much information, there is always the extra portion.
Lucian smiles and looks at Juliana and says, "Oh, have something playful in mind?"
Usually I do.
And he kind of smiles and walks over and places his index finger under her chin and lifts her face up and leans down for a kiss.
She leans up and accepts the kiss.
Well, hopefully she is as pretty as she says.
Noble boy seemed to have eyes only for her, according to the barkeep, so if he could afford the best, I'd assume.
And as you're sitting there having that discussion, back out in the streets of Altdorf, Arda, holding the hands of this dwarf, looks very funny walking through the streets of Altdorf. She's almost dragging him along, and she's excited to get where she's going, and he's obviously there just to simply be her bodyguard for this moment, walking around this large city, almost nighttime, getting darker. And her hand is tiny inside of his dwarf palm, but he has no other choice but to follow her and follow her lead through the cities of Altdorf. Every once in a while, he catches the eyes of another dwarf looking at him side-eyed, wondering what the hell is going on. And then while you're waiting, you two are waiting, there's a light rapping at the door, just...
Oh, Lucien, why do you not open the door for the lady?
Of course. Lucian goes over and opens the door.
And you go open the door, and in walks a woman with long red hair. She's wearing a thin gown, and she's standing there with her eyes kind of down at the floor, but she looks up to look at the both of you, and she says, I'm Lisa. I was sent in here. Can I help you both?
It is good to meet you, Lisa, Lucian says, extending a hand.
And she puts her hand out gently so that you can take it. And she kind of gives a little curtsy to you as you take her hand.
Lucian leans down and kisses her hand and says, "May I present the Lady Juliana and myself? I am Lucian."
And she looks over to you, Juliana, and with her eyes still down, she looks up to catch your eyes, and she smiles just a little bit and looks back down at the floor again, and again gives you a little nod and a curtsy as he introduces you.
And Juliana will get up from her seat, walk over, and she'll gently put a hand on the girl's arm.
It is okay. You do not need to look down so much. Not here.
And she looks up at you when you say that and smiles and then lets out a little bit of a sigh, actually, and says, well, that is very good to know. So, what is it you two had in mind?
Well, I think wine for start, Lucian says, as he goes to find some.
And you easily off to the side, one of the counters, one of the desks, so one of the tables has a bottle of wine. There's some fruit on the table. There are several glasses. It's kind of just a standard thing here at the Crimson Lotus. The room is very well stocked with refreshments.
Lucian pours 3 glasses and takes them over to the 2 ladies and says, your reputation precedes you.
My reputation? I don't understand.
The fairest woman in Aldmark is what I've heard. Well, before we arrived in the city, that is, Lucian says, smiling over at smiling over at Juliana. But more than that, we've been told you're quite something to talk to. One worth not just seeing, but hearing.
Well, I don't know. And she looks somewhat embarrassed and kind of looks away and giggles just a little bit, laughs off to the side, turning her head while she does so, and then turns back around. Sir, you've paid your coin. You don't have to compliment me to try and get me out of these gowns. That will be no problem. I'm sure there are plenty of beautiful women and fair women. And she looks over at Juliana when she says that in Altdorf right now.
And Juliana will smile back and she'll gently take the girl's hand and bring her over to the bed. Now, we were told about you by an associate of ours, someone who does like to stay in the city. He does talk about you quite a bit. We were very intrigued.
Oh, someone I know.
Yes. Christian, what is his name again?
The young Friedrich.
When you say Friedrich, she shoots a look over at you, Lucian, and then looks back at you, Juliana, and gently pulls her hands out of your hands and stands up. Friedrich, have you... And she looks frustrated and kind of flustered.
Oh,
Have you spoken to Friedrich?
well, actually, we were hoping that you have spoken to him lately, but I can see by your reactions that maybe you have not. Maybe you've been looking for him as well.
Who are you? Why are you looking for Friedrich?
We're friends. We go back a long time. I knew him when he was a boy. But we heard recently from his father that he had gone missing, and he asked us to check in on the boy and make sure everything was okay.
Well, it's funny. He never spoke of an old friend by the name of Lucian, especially one that goes so far back.
And Juliana's actually going to...
Did he speak often of an extended network of friends? He was always the kind to lose himself in his books and forget most that surrounded him, except for someone as beautiful and fascinating as... And can I roll... Lucian is really trying to charm her and get her over onto their side. Can I roll a charm check?
You can, but without the plus 20.
Okay.
She has been charmed to death by so many people that, yeah.
She is a professional. I would expect nothing less.
She is a professional, so you don't get the bonus against her.
Well, I'm probably going to ruin whatever you're rolling.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Though Lucien is attempting to convince her as he's kind of speaking like this, talking about friendship and everything. Juliana kind of rolls her eyes. Lucien, there is no reason to lie to the woman. Look, and she'll look directly at her. His father is missing him very much. We have been tasked to find the boy. It is obvious by your reactions that you have not seen him in quite a while. We were told that you two were close. We had maybe hopes that it was you he ran away with, as that was our first clue, or at least idea. But it seems you are still here.
And she looks over at Lucian. She was obviously hanging on his words, listening to him. But then Juliana spoke up and just kind of just laid it all out that he's missing and that you're looking for him. So Lucian's words kind of disappear into the background as Juliana speaks up. And she looks over at you, Juliana, and says, he's been gone now for a week, and I have not seen or heard from him. He said he would be back, and he hasn't come back, and I'm so worried. I am so worried for him.
Hey, it's okay. Come here.
And she's obviously upset.
Yeah. Juliana will open her arms and be like, come here. It is okay. We will find him.
She goes to you and lets you, kind of put your arms around her. he said he would be back. I asked to go with him, and he said no, it would be too dangerous, but I wanted to be at his side, and I I didn't want to be apart from him, not for this long. I don't know what to do. I haven't heard from him at all.
Do you know where he was going?
And she unburies her face from Juliana's shoulder where she would kind of rested it for just a moment. And still in Juliana's arms, she looks over at Lucian. Her eyes are red and starting to tear up. I tried talking him out of it. It seems mad. It seems absolutely mad. I mean, it's still smoldering. It's
okay. What is it? Where did you go?
And she's kind of shaking now. He said he needed to go to Mordheim.
At that, Lucian gets very pale and actually drops the glass of wine he's holding.
And it crashes on the floor, and the red wine just kind of spills out and stains the wood dark. And she's looking at you, and she's trembling, and tears are forming in her eyes.
I'm sorry, did you say Mordheim? What? He's going to Mordheim?
He said what he was looking for was at Mordheim, and that's the only place he could find it. I tried talking him out of it, but he refused to listen. So I told him to take me with him, but he said it was too dangerous. And she's very obviously just openly upset now.
Juliana's trying to comfort her best she can, patting the back of her head. It's okay. I know it is very scary when someone you care about just leaves. There's a reason that he did not want you to come, obviously, but you know him. You know him very well. You know that he can handle himself, yes?
He's more of a scholar than a fighter. I don't know how he's going to survive that city. Everything I've heard, travelers who have come through, adventurers who have passed through, talk about it, saying they would never return. It is too dangerous for them even.
Yes, it is dangerous, but...
He is a scholar, a noble son. He's not an adventurer. He can't survive in Mordheim.
Well, you know that he told you about it, that he wanted to make a name for himself, yes? And he will try whatever it takes to make that name. He's not going to let anything take him that easily.
And
He'll come back to you.
She looks over at you as you said that, and yes, he said he would make a name for himself, and he could be his own man, and then we could be together. He said he was going for us.
Exactly. That is what you have to think about. That he's going for you and him. And he needs you right now to believe in him, to hope for him, to pray for him. Okay?
And her hands trembling, she kind of pulls away from you a little bit and sits on the end of the bed right there. She has a tear in her eye. Her lip is trembling. And she looks over at Lucian. Can you find him?
We will. We'll find the boy. Did he say he was going to mention anything about hiring guards or mercenaries for this trip?
He didn't give me any of those details. I didn't ask him any of those details. I was just pained and shocked that he was going. I don't know what arrangements he made.
Well, you've told us where he was going, and that helps. We can use this, and we could catch up and find him, and we could keep him safe. We can return him to you, and then just think, you always dreamed of together.
Yes, keep him safe, please, and bring him back, please. And then she looks over to Juliana. Please bring him back.
We will, my girl.
And as the two of you are comforting her, out in the streets, getting closer to where they need to go, a red-headed woman holding the hand of a dour dwarf rushing through the streets comes up into an area that seems closed, a back alley. It's dark, except to the eyes of Arda. And Arda can see the faint light outline of what looks like a door down at the end of the alleyway. And as she goes to the door and pushes through it, she comes into the Celestial College of Magic. And as she comes through into the Celestial College of Magic, she quickly makes her way through the halls that she has familiarized herself with. It's nighttime now. Many people are sleeping. There's maybe a student here, someone else there, just kind of wandering around, looking at books, pulling something off of a shelf, until she makes her way to her teacher's, essentially his office, his room in the college here. And with a pounding on the door, an old man pulls the door open, standing there looking down at his student that he hasn't seen in quite some time, that he had sent out into the world. At first confused. And let me get to where I need to go. Okay.
Good evening, Maester.
And a tall man with an unkempt beard is standing there, and he looks down at you, Arda, and he notices the dwarf pulling his hand away from you, and he just kind of chuckles a little bit. Well, Arda, what are you doing here?
Well, it's just in town, stopping by. She's gonna try to walk past him into his office, looking at all the books he has stacked on high bookshelves and whatever he has open on his desk and the notes lying next to it. I memorized all those spells already. Thought I'd come by. Also, I had a question or two.
And at the mention of the spells, he quickly looks around, sticks his head out into the hallway, looks around down each side of the hall, shuts the door and comes back in. Oh, don't talk about those spells. Those really weren't, proper types of spells for a student here at the college. There was just something I put in there to kind of help you out in the real world there. And he kind of coughs on his pipe a little bit. Um, but you memorized them. You you no longer need to use the book for them, you say?
Nope. So you can take that back if you really want it. Destroy the evidence or whatever.
No, young Arda. You keep the book. Oh, you will always need a good grimoire. You might as well keep that one. Um, there will be spells that you will find in your journeys in life, and you won't be able to memorize all of them. Just at first glance, you'll have to write them down somewhere. Now, won't you?
I guess that's true. I had a question.
Go on. Yes, come in. And he takes a puff off his pipe and kind of waves it in the air. Who is this? This dwarf with you? He wears the red mohawk. I'm assuming you are a slayer, dwarf. Are you not? Your name, please.
My name is Durak Manling, and I am a slayer. And Durak kind of scratches his beard and looks about.
Yeah, he's apparently my bodyguard for coming and talking to you in my home. So it's whatever. I'm helping some people out. They've got a job trying to find some rich, noble kid.
Whoa, whoa. And at that, he sets his pipe down and steps back a little bit. Oh, wait, you show up here in the company of a slayer. His hands are in the air now as he's talking. He's kind of gesticulating wildly, hands flailing about. You are sent out just to get some experience in the real world. You show up here with with a slayer, and now you say you have a job. Arda, have you become an adventurer?
I don't know if I'd call myself that. It's just...
She has.
Oh, this is... Oh, my... Arda. My... wait a... I sent you out for experience, and this is completely unexpected, Arda.
Yeah, well...
Completely unexpected.
If you'll let me talk. And she's just gonna kind of glare at him a bit. I was almost murdered down south by a group of bandits. Maybe even something a little worse than murdered. And this guy, as well as two others that I've been traveling with, came by and helped me out. So I feel like I just owe them a bit. I'm just helping them get on their way. Don't worry too much.
And when you say that, he grabs a chair from his desk and pulls it out, and he kind of just sits back into it with a thump. Murdered. Arda, I sent you out to get life experiences. I wanted you to see the world. I never...
Oh, I
I never intended for you to be in harm's way and get in danger.
That's what the world is. It's a dark, shitty place. I much prefer my books, but you don't really want me to stay too much in that, apparently.
Well, I mean... Yes, well, you've had your adventure now. You're welcome back here to the college, of course. Yes, so we'll reinstate your classes right away. You can have your dorm room back, of course, and everything will be just as it was. Thank you very much, Master Dwarf, for bringing her. You could be on your way now, and he starts walking to the door and opening it to show you the way out.
I said I had questions. If you will permit me a little bit more time.
Well, what other questions could you have? You said you wanted your books. You prefer your books. Well, here they are now. Master Dwarf, thank you very much. We'll take it from here. We will make sure Arda is no longer in any danger. I appreciate you keeping her safe. So,
Alright, listen here, you Wazik. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing you drone on and on. All this other nonsense. She has some questions for you about some book or another. She thinks you might know what it is, and it's gonna help us get paid. So, Arda, if you would. Your master wearies me. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
and he looks surprised at that. His eyes are wide and a little bit startled. Well, yes, well, of course, Arda. Ask your questions. Ask your questions.
This noble that they're looking for, his name was Friedrich something. Apparently he's been asking around about a book that can predict things, phases of the moon, all that. Sounded a hell of a lot like the Morslab Arcanum. I was wondering if you've heard anything, anybody asking about it.
A book that can predict Morse level. Why would you be seeking that out? Why would he be seeking that out? That's impossible. You can't predict Morse live. No one can. What is this about? Who wants this book? You say, some boy?
Some noble kid, Friedrich. He,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, apparently somebody believed they could predict it enough that this kid's chasing after that hint. I'm just trying to get a good idea of who pointed him in whatever direction to hunt this thing down and where that direction might be. Figure the college is the best place that he might have gone to, considering that's kind of our wheelhouse.
Yes, well, Chancellor Yago, he thought he could predict Morse live. He was writing everything he knew down in that book. The Liber Morse live, some call it the Morse live Arcanum, some call it the Dark Book. He thought he knew what was going on. Chancellor Yago used to be one of the instructors here. Of course it was here. He looked at that moon every time it showed up and looked for any way he could to predict its next coming. Drove him mad, it did. Drove him completely mad. He left the college. No one's heard from him since. That was near 50 years ago now. I knew him when I was younger, but I don't know him anymore.
Do you think he might still be alive?
I doubt it. A madman like that wandering around in the wild on his own. Bandits or animals have had their way with him by now.
Makes sense. And if he hadn't been killed, was there any word on where he went?
Oh, I have no idea where he went. Like I said, I knew him when he was a young man. Disappeared. Never heard from him again. I never went looking for him. We weren't friends. But he's off now. Gone. I didn't think I'd ever hear of him again. Hear his name.
Well, life is full of surprises, I guess.
Yes, well, Don't you worry about this book. It's nonsense. There's no way anyone could predict Morslide. It's a folly. Don't go down that hole. It won't lead anywhere. And he's taking his pipe and kind of just chewing on the end as he talks to you.
Dear Master, isn't that the purpose of our education and research? To try to explain what can't be explained, see what can't be seen. If perhaps he did figure something out, isn't that something worth looking into?
What you getting at there, Arda? Are you taking this seriously?
I'm just so curious why you aren't.
Because it drove him mad, crazy. He went running out of here, disappeared into the wilderness. Likely the death of him. You should have seen him last days here in the college, pulling his hair out. No sleeping, no eating. Dark circles under his eyes. He says he was close to figuring it out. He was completely mad, crazy.
What is it about
That
this?
is not our purpose, to go mad. Our purpose is to be here, be present, to know what we're talking about, to educate.
But is it also not our purpose to go out and fight in wars and help our fellow countrymen or something like that?
Well, yes, of course. We are men of the Empire. We will fight for the Empire. What he was doing was not for the Empire. It was for himself, and it drove him crazy. Sigmar struck him down. He received his punishment. He is no longer here. Don't go chasing after his folly.
I'm not chasing after his folly. I'm just trying to find this Friedrich kid and where he might have gone.
And make some money.
I don't care so much about the money. But yeah, you guys can have the money.
Works for me. And Direct gets up off his chair and pats off his pants. Well, if that's that...
Just 1 second, dwarf. Maester,
Arda.
I think I need a little more of this world experience. After all this time, I think I've grown to like it a little bit. I'd like my license. I don't want the word witch thrown around me too often and be worried about being burned at the stake or anything.
Oh. And he's chewing on the end of his pipe and takes a step back. You think you're ready?
Well, I've got the same practical level of experience as any other maester that's just starting out. I'm probably way more book smart than a good majority of them with how much time I've spent in your books. So yeah, I think I'm pretty ready.
You were always a good student, Arda. That's why I was so hard on you. You knew more than the others. But you needed some life experience. You needed to get out there and see what the real world was all about. Now, I didn't expect you to fall in line with... And he looks over at Duroc when he says this. I didn't expect you to fall in line with, well, with their type. I didn't expect you to fall in line with adventurers and scoundrels.
What's that, manling? Just insult a dwarf.
I didn't insult a dwarf. I insulted your profession. I insulted what it is you do. I insulted anyone who goes down the path of wanting to fight and adventure for coin, for wealth, for women, for wine, rather than seek higher knowledge, the greater knowledge, the real purpose for us to be here. Our knowledge to pass on. Order, I want you to come back. I want you to be here at school. I want you to study more. I want you to stay here. I want you to one day replace me. That's my hope for you.
If you insult me again, manling, today might be the day she replaces you.
Dwarf, wait outside. I'll show you the way out in just a moment.
And Durek's gonna stare daggers at the old man. And push his way past. Walk out the door.
Maester, I'm not just going to replace you one day. I'm gonna replace the Patriarch as well. I'm gonna be in charge of this whole thing, and in order to do that, I need to get out there and really learn what all this is about. So I would like my license, and I will return more experienced and more knowledgeable than ever. Don't you worry about that.
And he kind of blows a smoke ring out from his pipe. I can't say I agree with this order.
Well, you're not my father.
You haven't been...
It doesn't matter. This is my choice.
Yes, well, I'm not your father. But you show some respect. You want my signature, you show respect. Do you understand, Arda?
Yes, Maester Elwick.
And he turns around and opens up a cabinet and pulls a book out, and there's some papers in there. He grabs some papers, starts thumbing through them. Yes. Yes. And reaches in and grabs a yellowed paper. Reaches across his desk for a quill, and then kind of forcefully, stubbornly scrawls his signature across it. And then whips it around and snaps the paper at you. Here you go, Arda. You think you can do well out there? Well, here you go. Let's see what you got. Just make sure you get back here alive someday. You have a lot more learning to do, more than you think you know.
I look forward to it. She'll take the paper from his hand, holding it in her own and looking down at it. Thank you, Maester. I'll be back before you know it.
Yes, well, if the people you're traveling with don't get you killed first.
Oh, don't worry. I don't think I'm in any danger there. Good studies, Maester Elwick. And she'll kind of back out of the door and leave him without another word. All right, dwarf. Let's get you out of here. And she'll extend her hand towards him again.
Only out the door this time.
I don't think you need my help finding your way back to the bar. I don't think that's magical. So only to the door.
Aye.
So Arda shows the dwarf through the halls and back down into the street. And you stumble out into the street, and it's quieter now. It's darker. The sun has gone down, and the stars are out. There are fewer people walking around. There's still a number of them, again, just because of the size of this city, but definitely far less than there were previously.
Okay, I think we're gonna head back towards the Gilded Ox Tavern.
And then we pan back over to the Crimson Lotus, where you had all been talking. Is there anything else that you guys need to discuss here?
After spending some time comforting Miss Lisa, Juliana's going to kind of reach into her kind of bosom where she's got her coin purse. She pulls out another gold coin, and as she clasps it, she takes Lisa's hands into hers, pressing the gold coin into it. Now, I want you to remain strong while we find your Frederick. And you take care of yourself, okay?
And she looks down at the gold coin and puts her hand over it and looks up at you. Please find Frederick. Please. He's the only thing that matters to me in this world. And she pulls the coin gently away out of your hand with her hand on top and her other hand underneath your hand. Kind of pulls the coin out of your palm so that it's now in between both of her palms. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll make sure we get back your Frederick. I know what it's like to care about someone very deeply. She'll glance over towards Lucian, seeing how he's dealing with the news.
Lucian's been more quiet than normal, but he has been following along with the conversation and asking questions or making comments when appropriate. In between when we cut away and where we are now, Lucian would have probably tried to steer the conversation to her telling us more about Frederick. Just kind of like what's he like, some stories they share, stuff that might be helpful in finding him.
Yeah, and in that time, she would have let you know, what she loves about Frederick, that he's gentle, polite, kind, all of the attributes that she finds appeasing in him. She also lets you know that, funnily enough, he's afraid of horses. Little insights like that. She kind of laughs at that when she talks about the first time seeing him trying to mount a horse, and it startled him and scared him somewhat, especially being a noble son. And so yeah, she gives you little insights and tips about Friedrich and what she thinks of him in the time that's passed. And it helps to lighten her mood, bring some levity, which is obvious across her face as she, kind of laughs at little stories here and there as she talks about him.
And Juliana will mostly be tending to her, seeing if she's alright, kind of thing. And kind of after it all, I'm guessing there's like a time limit or something. But she gets up from the bed and takes her hands away from Lisa. We will make sure to find Frederick, but you have a good evening. And again, make sure to take care of yourself and pray for him.
And she looks up at you as you stand up and walk away from the bed. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I feel so much better now knowing that there's someone looking for him. That there's someone who has his well-being in mind. Someone who can do something. And she looks around the room. I am not capable of doing anything for him other than being here for him.
And that is just as important. You being here and you being safe. For, I'm guessing it is, you are the one who keeps him motivated.
Yes, well, he's keeping me motivated as well.
Good. Keep that to heart. And she looks over at Lucian and takes his arm. Do you have any more questions?
No, I can't say that I do. Be well. We'll return your Freddy to you.
And she looks at you and she gives a short nod and kind of another curtsy as she looks to the ground and takes a step back.
And with that, Juliana will give her a wave and take Lucian and start heading out.
You guys head back out again into the streets of Altdorf. And the night is getting quieter and quieter as you finally make your way back to, I'm assuming you're headed back to the Gilded Ox.
Mm-hmm. And the way when they kind of step out into the night, the air kind of around, Juliana will look up to Lucian. I know that must have been shocking. How are you feeling?
I'm okay. It's just I never thought I'd see that place again.
And unfortunately, we must go where the job leads us.
Of course, it's just, well, bad memories. People gone. I mean, what's even left of the city? The moon crashed into it, or a comet, or I'm not even.
It is a bit funny in a way, maybe a bit morbidly. I am running away from something where you are running to something that you don't want to go to. Once this job is over, we won't have to go back there. We can leave, find out exactly how much money that we're getting off this job. Maybe this is the score that we are looking for. I can settle down.
Hey, maybe.
I mean, I feel very much kindred spirits with Frederick and Miss Lisa. In a way, except, well, I took you along this time.
Is that how you like to think of it? You took me along?
That is exactly, well, you dragged me out of there and I just keep you along for the ride.
Well, I hope the ride's good at least.
Since it isn't get Erin to bed, I mean, we have to do something tonight.
That we did, I hope. She seems like a nice girl. And it sounds like Frederick, whatever his faults, really care.
Mm. It is sweet, in a way.
Should we head back to the others?
Yes, I think after that, all that crying, I definitely need another drink. I hate it when I cry.
You know, there's an untouched private room upstairs. Soft sheets. If we get back before the others.
True, there are nice linens. You need what, 5 minutes?
Lucian smiles and just kind of chuckles to himself and says, "Oh, we'll see. You know better than that."
Ah, true. Usually it's 6 after this. And Juliana will laugh as she walks down with Lucy in an arm.
And arm in arm, you start headed back towards the Gilded Fox, retracing your steps through the streets of Altdorf at night, making your way there. And as you're making your way back to the Gilded Ox, Arda and Duroc start making their way through the streets as well. Down the alleys, back to the streets, the side streets, past dark buildings. Again, it's night and the stars are out. Start making their way out, and they start making their way out. And on the cobblestone, you just hear a little thump, thump, pad, pad, thump, thump, as you start getting the feeling that you're being followed.
Durac's gonna turn around and look around behind them. I can see in the dark to some extent.
And as you turn around, you immediately, off in the shadows, you see someone stop. They just stop in their tracks the second you turn around and start looking down the street.
All right then, come on out.
And as you stop and turn around and look down the streets and yell for someone to come out, three men step out from the shadows. And they walk out. One of them has a club in his hand. The other one has a dagger. And one of them actually has a sword in his hand. Aye. What you two doing out this late at night?
Oh, just looking for some thugs to kill. Know any?
And one of them looks at the other. This here stunty he's funny. And he's kind of slurring his words a little bit. This stunty's funny. Oh. And the other one just laughs. Yeah, this stunty's funny. Let's see how funny he is when we're done. And the one in the middle just kind of laughs and looks at both of them. Aye. You got coin.
I got an axe and a boot, and you can pick which one you want to taste first, booger.
And they all just start kind of laughing. This stunty. Hey, stunty. Is that your girl?
No.
I'm a bit confounded. What kind of balls does it take for 3 people to try to make it as burglars in a city full of mages?
Full of mages. They don't come out of their tower.
full of
Little
mages.
girl walking around it, not with a little stunty. Did you buy her, stunty?
Alright, I've had it. I'd go tell Lucian I'll be back in a couple of hours. I'm gonna torture these fools behind an alley. And then just gonna get out my axes. Or axe if I haven't been able to get one yet.
I mean, I may as well
And then
help.
start advancing towards them.
Arda's gonna cast marsh lights and have 4 orbs kind of circle around her, with a faint bit of electricity kind of like sparking off each one.
Okay. Go ahead and roll initiative.
Is there a plus anything, or is it just straight?
No, it's just initiative, yep. Okay, so the bandits are all going to use the same initiative. So it's going to be Dorok, bandits, Arda. And they're in the alleyway. It's kind of a tight alleyway. There's buildings on both sides of you. There is a door in this area right here, just like this image shows. So for the most part, it's a doorway and walls and this alleyway.
How close are they?
They're probably 10, 15 yards away. They were down the alley just a little bit, and they're standing there, just kind of waving or kind of rocking back and forth a little bit, slurring their words as they're yelling at you.
So it's definitely outside of charge range. I want to start running that direction with my axes. And have I gotten the second one from at this point, or just the one?
Yeah, no, you guys haven't. I mean, no, you guys haven't gone to a market yet.
Thanks, Arda. So I have the one axe.
You have the one axe, yes.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just got my axe out, and I'm just running towards them at this point.
Okay, so you're running at them. And as you're running at them, all 3 of them are standing there looking at you running at them. 2 of them, since they're acting together, decide they're going to charge you. So the one with the club and the one with the dagger charge you. And go to attack. So we're going to do a contested weapon skill. Oof. And then the other one. So the one with the club over here, he comes in, and whether it's by luck, but he charges you and comes in and just smacks you with his club. The other one, he completely misses and swings wide with his dagger. He kind of swings over your head, kind of with a little bit of a stumble as he's coming at you. And let me roll his.
No, I didn't.
So it's 4, 5, 6. So he hits you with it, but it doesn't do anything. It just kind of glances off of you. And then the other one starts coming around the side of the alley, keeping to the walls. And then it's Arda.
She's gonna look over towards this one. Are you gonna come play with me, pretty boy? And she'll move over towards him and cast Shock.
Okay.
Which automatically stuns him.
So he automatically takes a stun token, which is going to be minus 20 to any of his next actions.
And he can't attack.
That's right. And then it's back to Dorak.
I'm gonna swing on the one who hit me with the club. Oh, good.
So you swing it. Maybe it's the glancing blow that he got on you, but your axe doesn't find its mark, and it kind of just slides off to the side. He attacks back and goes after you. +2, +1. Your success level is higher, so you actually deflect that. So he goes to hit you with your club, and you just knock it away with your axe. The other one goes to attack you. Okay, so he's able to hit you, and as he hits you, he does his damage. So SL +2, so it's strength bonus 3, 4, 5, 6, so 7, 8.
-4 from toughness, so do 4.
Mm-hmm.
Are we at full health for this?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, he strikes you and smacks you down. He's kind of, ha, come on, stunty. You can put up a bigger fight than this. And then the other one down here, standing there stunned, not knowing what's going on, just kind of starts backing up.
He can make a save to try to break out of it.
Oh, that's right. What save is that again? That's toughness?
I'm gonna have to look.
I think that's a toughness save. And he does. He backs up and he kind of just shakes it off. And as he shakes it off, he looks at you. It's a witch! It's a witch! And he starts screaming, she's a witch! And he starts running back down the alley.
No, he can only move, or he can only make that save at the end of his turn.
Okay. Well, as he's backing away and he makes a save at the end of his turn, he starts yelling, she's a witch!
You say I'm a witch, but we're in the fucking city of mages. How dumb are you? And she's gonna step forward again and shock him again.
This time he knows what to expect, so go ahead and make an opposed, let's do dexterity versus his dexterity to even get into contact with him.
What?
because he's trying to stay away from you now. He's not going to let you touch him if he can't, if he can help it.
Do I get a bonus or anything since he's trying to run away?
No, if anything, that would have given him a bonus because he's trying to actually actively get away from you. But that's what he rolled.
Can I do a fortune or whatever?
You can if you'd like.
What? So dumb.
Okay, so as he's backing away and trying to get away from you, and you're coming towards him, trying to grab onto him so that you can cast that, you kind of stumble forward. He stumbles backwards, but you aren't able to actually come into contact with him. But he does fall backwards on the ground and starts scooting himself backwards, just frightened and panicked. She's a witch! She's a witch!
Why are you so scared?
And at that, the other two look at him and look at Arda, and they start backing away as well. Did you say witch?
Oh, I'm a magister. Don't you worry. I'm way worse. I'm legal.
And they start backing away, and it's back to Duroc.
Immediately rushing towards the one who's been hitting me with this damn club.
Oof, and you hit him.
Yeah, so it's gonna be 7.
So 7 is enough to, you strike him, and you see him fall down to a knee. And as soon as you strike him and see him fall down to the knee, this one here starts taking off running down the alleyway. And this one here that you hit is on a knee with his face down, holding, where did you hit him?
Left leg.
Left leg, holding his leg, as it just screams out. "Ah!" He drops the club down at his side, and he's just using both hands now to grab his leg that has a huge gash across it, and trying to stop the flow of blood out of it. This one looks down and sees that and just starts running off. And then this one over here, who is scooting back, stands up and starts running as well. And it's back to Arda.
She's gonna try to chase after him and shock him again.
So that's going to be an athletics test. So
Athletics? Okay, there it is.
yep. Oof. Yeah, so he's stumbling backwards and tries to get away, and you easily run him down and catch him, put your hands on him as he's running away, grab him by the back of the neck, and you shock him, and he falls face down onto the cobblestone.
You're not allowed to leave yet.
The other one is just sitting there, bleeding, trying to get up, but with his club at his side, there's nothing else he can really do. He's just holding onto his leg that's wide open and bleeding out onto the stones.
I'm gonna take my axe and try to plant it into his skull.
And you bring the axe straight down onto his skull as he's sitting there holding his leg, and with just a sickening thunk, it buries deep in, and his eyes open wide in shock. And as his eyes open wide in shock, his hands let go of his leg and just fall limp at his side, and he's still sitting up as you holding onto the axe stuck into his skull gives him the balance he needs to stay sitting up and not slump over into a pile.
Take my boot, put it against the side of his face, and then push him off my blade. That's one Wozzeck dealt. Keep him busy, Arda, I'm coming.
And he falls down and just kind of thunks onto the cobblestone. Blood surrounding him. The other one, lying there, not knowing what to do, panicked, yelling out, "Help! Witch! Help!" And he tries getting up, feeling the muscles in his body just tight and tense. And he's unable to. And he sits there just kind of moaning, racked in pain, and just yelling out, "Help!"
You have no idea how much I hate that word. And she's gonna stab into him with her sword.
Okay, and him lying there, unable to move or do anything, you don't have to make any rolls. You just stab into him. And as you stab into him, his eyes get wide and he's... "Ow!" And he tenses up one last time. And kind of just rolls off to the side, his head pressed against the cold stones with the stars above, bleeding out everywhere onto the cobblestones. Off in the distance, you see a light flicker on in a room above the alleyway.
Durak walks over, and as the man's bleeding out, he will behead him in the middle of the street. And then put his axe on his waist and start looking through. And this is the one with the sword, yeah?
That was the one with the sword, yes.
He will take the sword from the cobblestone, look at it, and look at trash.
And you're looking through, you find a coin pouch that has 2 silver pieces. And other than that, there's a dagger, but nothing else.
Right! Well, that's done. Alright, let's go.
They're so stupid. Whatever. Let's head back. Don't want to leave Lucian and Juliana too long alone together. Never know what they're gonna do in a whorehouse.
I can hazard plenty of guesses.
I suppose so. Well, let's go interrupt their fun.
So, as you take the loot from the bodies of the dead, as you decapitate the man in the middle of the street, you see other lights flickering on in windows above the alleyways. And you start making your way back to the Gilded Ox. So you make your way back to the Gilded Ox, and upon walking in, you see that the others are already there. sitting at a table, maybe having a drink, maybe having some food. The Gildock still has several people in it, but it's definitely far quieter than it was earlier, considering the time of night it is now.
And Ileana is sitting beside Lucia. She's got a big smile on her face as she's kind of drinking. Seems to be laughing along with them. And as she turns and catches Arda and Duroc with the corner of her eye, and she turns and waves two of them over.
Arda will walk over. Hey, how'd things on your end go?
Well, they went with you well. I'm just surprised that it took you as long as it did. We had lots of time to ourselves.
That's what I was hoping to avoid. We ran into some trouble on the way back. A couple robbers wanting to try to mug us. Didn't go over so well for them.
And then I am glad that Thorak was with you. It would have been a bad thing.
Yeah, who knows
Maybe
what would have
we'll-
happened to a small girl such as me all alone.
Well, you never know. I mean, you're perfectly capable with dealing with things that are utterly epic, but I do not know exactly how good you are when it comes to armed men alone.
I killed one of those bandits in the temple, or in the crypt, just like the rest of
You
you.
also killed a dog.
Their dog, it was an enemy dog.
Dogs.
It bit the dwarf.
The only enemies dogs know are the ones who haven't fed them.
Whatever.
The beast bit my leg. It deserved to die. Nonetheless, not much turned up from the trip to the college. Though, she is a legal witch now, so that's something, I suppose.
Please don't throw around that word. I'm a maester.
Well, congratulations for becoming a master.
Thank you.
I think it deserves a drink.
Sounds like a plan, I suppose.
Well, if yours wasn't too fruitful in terms of information, ours was fairly enlightening.
We found
Lucian, if you care to fit them in.
we found out plenty of information, just maybe nothing that interested the dwarf.
Well, what did you find out?
The kid's looking for a book called the Mordheim Arcanum. Something that's used to try to predict the cycle of Mordheim. The dark moon, the bad moon, the green moon, you know it. The author was apparently a student at the college some 50 years or so ago, Chancellor Iago. He apparently grew obsessed with trying to figure out this cycle, and it drove him completely mad. He thought he was so close to figuring it out, so he ran off, disappeared out into the wilderness, and no one's heard from him since. But from the sound of things, this is who or what Friedrich is looking for, at least in part.
Interesting. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. There's a couple dead robbers in the street. That's about it.
Like every Umgi town.
It is the usual. As always, people trying to get those less fortunate or those without the means to help themselves. But it is good that we know exactly what he is looking for.
We also know where he's looking.
where he's gone.
Oh, where's that?
Mordheim, the city of the damned.
Durak spits out his beer. Mordheim. Oh, manling, I didn't believe you when you said you'd find better contracts for us, but now you're talking.
Never been. Should be interesting, I guess.
I do not know about interesting. She looks over to Lucian. Bit of a worried look on her face, where she looks back to Arda.
You notice, like, Lucian is being a bit more quiet than normal and is kind of holding his beer near his face and takes a sip. And after Arda says, never been, he kind of mumbles, it was my home.
Oh, so it'll be a fantastic homecoming for you then, won't it?
It is burned, Arda. There's no reason for you to be insensitive.
Sorry.
You should be.
Not completely burned, I hear.
There are stories of survivors, but the tales don't always seem to imply that they're fully intact, spiritually, mentally, physically.
Kazaki Doom, Thugraki, I've heard all sorts of stories of creatures and beings there. It should be a fun trip.
I don't know about fun. I had brothers, a father, friends. Most are probably dead, and the ones that are left alive, I shudder to think of what they've gone through.
So how do you escape the destruction?
Oh, I was sent away long before then, to the monastery. Why do you think they call me Brother Lucian?
'Cause you had brothers? I don't know. Never thought about it.
Yes, well, we know the boy is going to Mordheim, and we know that he's not one for horses, so he probably tried to hire a ship or find passage, traveling up the...
It has been at least a week since he has left. That is the last time that Lisa saw him. Apparently he is, of course, as we know, doing it for the fame. Most likely to make a name for himself. To be able to finally take her out of here. Be with her without, hopefully, his father taking downcast eyes upon the girl.
Well then, what's our plan? When are we leaving?
Right?
Hopefully immediately.
I think we need to maybe stock up on some supplies before we go. We do have the coin. We should get well equipped for going to Mordheim.
It's also approaching the witching hour, and best not to travel in the middle of the night, even through the heart of the Empire.
Of course. Well, you three can do your shopping and preparation. There's a couple people I still want to see.
I think we should get prepared tomorrow. See how long that takes, but after that I think we should go. Either tomorrow or the next day.
We're leaving tomorrow. At least I am. Can't wait to get there. Oh, it's gonna be in time.
Maybe we can get better horses. Something that can carry more weight. Are you alright with horses, Lucian?
Aye, sounds good to me.
Good. You can ride on the back of mine if need be. Just don't jump over anything. You're gonna rinse him a bit, trying to get him to perk up.
He seems kind of he smiles a little bit and ribs her back, but you could kind of tell his mind is still elsewhere.
Yeah, I think in the celebration of at least finding out where the boy is going and some more information about this quest, like I said, I think we should drink more, enjoy the evening.
I'll drink to that. Lucian raises his ale and downs the entire rest of it before signaling.
So, with the four of you at a table, with a few people around you, in the Gilded Ox, Arda thinking about her promotion to sorcerer. Wait, is it sorcerer? Is that what class you are? Sorry, Arda.
Maester is the term.
well,
Or,
is
Magister.
that actually the term? I was like, no. Okay. In any case, Arda thinking about her promotion, and the dwarf thinking about the riches to be found in the city of Mordheim. Juliana surrounded by a man she cares for, off on an adventure, living the life that she wants to live and not being told how to live it. And Lucian thinking about the home that he left, the home that was destroyed, the family that was there when it was destroyed. And now considering the fact, the possibility, the inevitability that to complete this mission, he'll have to be headed back into the city of the damned, the city destroyed by that comet just 1 year ago, still smoldering, the city of Mordheim. You've all heard the stories coming out of there. You've all heard the dire tales of beasts and monsters, of people not surviving, but of riches as well. Now you have a reason to go there, and a reason to return there, Lucian. And as you all contemplate all these things that happened tonight, the information you discovered, and drink your ale, the tavern goes dark, and that's it for tonight.
Hey.
Good time.